soul. Run lads, shoot lads, give us all a go. Run lads, shoot lads, you can do it, yes. Come on, Newport County, oh. Bang it in the net.
Hello everybody, welcome to Taff's Word. So basically this is 2024 in review and Happy New Year message to you all from myself. So 2024, Newport County, year in review. So I'm going to whiz through this because I want to add some perception and an expectation for the new year. But 2024 started exceptionally for us. You know, we were in good form. We ended up earning a tie with Man United in the FA Cup. You know, so basically that particular week was great because, well, a couple of weeks was great because we had Man United, Wrexham and Swindon all at the same time, you know, one after the other. We won the league games against Wrexham and Swindon, and we obviously lost against Man United, but it was a fantastic match. We gave a great account of ourselves, and obviously the club made a lot of money. Another important milestone for Newport County was the change of ownership, which went through in the new year. Great. Hugh Jenkins involved now as chairman and majority owner. Trust retaining enough to have a presence on the board. So you're thinking, yes, it's very positive. Hugh Jenkins and his history with Swansea, you know, it's very exciting for the football club, you know, because of what he achieved there and, you know, the philosophy he applied to that football club and where they eventually got to with him. Not to say that I'm expecting a full emulation of that, of course not. But at the end of the day, we've got somebody running the football club who knows how to run a football club successfully, which is fantastic. And obviously we were riding a bit of a wave and we ended up putting ourselves in with a shade of a sort of a last minute sort of playoff, you know, assault, should we call it that. Unfortunately, it died a death on an 8-game losing run, which, you know, to be honest with you, after the first 3 losses and you realise, yeah, we're not making the playoffs, you just kind of wanted the season to freaking end by that point because it became a difficult watch, going to watch a county game, because after losing 5 on the bounce, you're half expecting to lose, which is very, very unlike me personally and very unlike a lot of fans that I know. But it was what it was. We ended the season on 8 games losing and yeah, it all petered out, unfortunately. But the season started poorly and ended poorly. Great middle. Brings us on to the summer, and like a lot of people, I was fully expecting, and I'd imagine that Hugh Jenkins and Graham Coughlin were also, you know, thinking in the same way, that I was expecting Graham Coughlin to manage the football club for this season. I think until everyone had their holidays and then came back, I'd imagine this is what happened. Hugh Jenkins, Graham Coughlin and his backroom staff and whoever's involved with Hugh Jenkins probably sat down for the meeting. Hugh Jenkins, bang, here we go. This is what I want to do at this football club, you know, from this summer and onwards for the foreseeable future. I want to adopt this playing style. I want to bring the average age of the squad down. I want good, young, talented players to join the football club who aren't going to demand a massive wage, so we can reduce the wage bill, because a big part of Hugh Jenkins' application of a successful philosophy was always going to be to streamline the football club so we become self-sufficient financially. And I'd imagine a lower playing budget was key with that. So that's where a lot of that, you know, sort of, you know, like transfer strategy came into it, recruitment strategy would have come into it all. Graham Coughlin's turned around and said, I can't give you this brand of football. I can't work as a coach, I'm a manager, and so I can't coach that brand of football for you, and I want to be responsible for the recruitment. You know, I don't want to have scouts telling me who I should sign. I'd like to sign who I want to sign. Obviously, they reached that impasse, and it just came about that, well, they would have mutually decided to go separate ways. That's why there was no bad blood on Graham Coughlin's side on leaving, and I can't imagine there was any bad blood on Hugh Jenkins' side towards Graham for not wanting to carry on in the job. I mean, all the best to Graham. He's at Boston United now, and I really do wish him all the best there, of course, you know, and I've messaged, you know, spoken to him on LinkedIn, telling him that, and, you know, we've had a conversation, and he's still got a soft spot for us, and he does say that one day I will basically be in the away crowd with the Amber Army, because I love the travelling fans. Obviously love the home fans as well, of course, but you know what I mean. He wants to go do some away days with the Amber Army and be in the crowd with us. So I look forward to seeing that when it comes about. So obviously I've spoken quite in depth about the way things have gone this season so far. So I'm not going to go too far into it, except for basically give you an update on what my thought process is on where we are, because the last video was a little while ago. But the problem that I've had with putting out a new video is I want to basically put my point across clearly and make it decisive and to the point. And the problem that I've got with that is at the moment, everything's too unpredictable and too, it's either there or there. There's no that. That I can work with because you can dissect that. When it's that to, you know, when it's that to that, like, well, you can explain why we did that well, but then how do you go from doing that well to doing absolutely garbage? Like MK Dons, 6-3 home. Okay, the 3 goals we conceded, well, except for the first one, we shouldn't have. I put that down to the complacency of the scoreline more than the inability to defend routinely. But the goals that came about were good goals. There was nothing fortunate about any of our goals, except maybe the penalty, but it was a handball. It was a penalty. Handball in the box. That's the very definition of a penalty. So, 6 great goals. You know, and they've come from good passes, good periods of play, good link-up between our guys. So, the only change for Bromley was Hudlin for Jeffcott. Now, I understand everyone's gone, oh, why have we changed the winning team? Or Jeffcott was good in the last game, why have we changed it? Now, the logical side of it was they got a big team. So we need big players. Jeffcott's relatively small. Hudlin is 6'9". Go figure. So that's where that came from. 100%. That was the reason why that change was made. The problem was, to counteract their height, it wasn't utilised. He was zonal marking rather than picking up their biggest guy, who caused all the problems on the set pieces. Again, now, this is, so the Bromley game, right, perfect example, right, of where I can find the middle ground between that and that. Because, like I say, MK Dons was that, Bromley was that. But the last the first 10 minutes was sort of that. But then the last 15 to 20 minutes was sort of that. Now, how do you get from that to that in the same game? Now, for me, the possession-based football is good. I like it. It's getting better. You know, when we are playing at the back, we're not looking close to losing the ball to gift them a clear-cut chance, which is what a lot of people were fearing. But my problem is that when the 11 on the pitch are expansive, you know, they're not coming in together to play short little passes. They were too expansive. Now, when they started, they were expansive, but they were picking their balls correctly. They were switching the play over the wings quite well. They were finding the people in the middle, and they knew where to pass the ball to someone in space. So for the first 10-15 minutes of that game, that's what we were doing. But the reason why we weren't really creating anything concrete is because it was still too expansive. You know, you needed to bring it in a little bit. If you're playing a possession-based game, you can't just be all out, covering all areas of the pitch. I know you're looking for space, but there's enough space on a football pitch for you to play in close proximity to each other, especially when you know where each other are. So the problem then is that they figured out quite quickly that we were picking these balls, so they were marking us that bit tighter, or they were closing down the players that were picking these balls out a lot quicker, and they were getting the upper hand. The thing that we didn't notice in that game was every time we actually stuck a long ball forward and pressed to put some pressure on the defenders, they were lumping it out for the throw-in without, you know, any ability to bring the ball down or pick a pass. They were just playing it safe and lumping it for a throw-in, which gives us possession of the ball to work together in close proximity in the final third. And within the first 5 minutes, I thought, keep doing that. I know it's not our philosophy of play, but it's game management. You've got to adopt, you know, adapt is the correct word. Adapt to the game that you're in. One-dimensional thinking when it comes to your tactical setup does not work every time. Now, there are times where, like MK Dons, our tactical setup was spot on and it worked a treat. 6 goals proves that against a good team. Now, it didn't work against Bromley, but what did work was playing the percentages with the high ball. I know it's going back to hoofball, but you can utilise that hoofball to get us up that end of the pitch in possession. Nothing to stop you from playing the passing possession football in their half, as long as you're playing that ball that's more or less guaranteeing you that throw-in up there. But we didn't notice that. So that's one thing we could have exploited, which we didn't. But then when we made the changes and we had Whitmore, you know, the energy, real energy, Whitmore, Kieran Evans was moved out onto the wing, which I think he looked like 10 times the player there than playing the CDM role. Bryn Morris didn't have a great game. Great game against MK Dons, but that's another thing. You have to identify when someone's not having a game quicker. Make those subs quicker, which was the Walsall issue. If we made the subs quicker, while it was 0-0, after they'd made theirs, their subs changed the game. As much as you can bemoan that Glennon was pulled back on the build-up to their first goal and the handball, still, you know, we still tactically didn't measure up to Walsall. Like I say, the standard of football that we played with Jeff Cott, with Whitmore, with Miley and Kieran Evans, especially them four, you know, exploiting that right-hand side. And then, because we were exploiting that right-hand side so much, they were piling more men over to counteract it. Camwood out on the left was bossing things down there then, because he didn't have as many people marking him, because they knew he was going to be a threat and they marked him tightly, which meant he couldn't do an awful lot. That was the Bromley game. Back to the Walsall game, yeah, the subs. There's nothing wrong with the subs that we made them too late. Didn't want to make them subs when you were chasing the game. You want to make those subs while you were in the game, and we were very much in the game. We were the better team in the first half, no doubt about it. Second half, they came back into it, but they're top of the league, running away with it on a 5-game winning run, and before the game with us, hadn't conceded in over 7 hours of football. I mean, that's where some perspective needs to come into, you know, the way people attack the manager, the style of play, the individual players, you know, or just the team collectively. You've got to think rather than just shape, you know, the bile that people are shouting or typing in, the keyboard warrior fucking poison that people are putting into these groups, because, you know, it doesn't do anybody any good highly criticising, because a lot of these people, these toxic people, you don't see them when we do well. There was a good load of people who I just did not see a single thing from. Now, a lot of these people are going to know exactly who they are. You know, a lot of these people, we don't see them when we do well, but the moment we do bad, they're sitting there waiting to spit out at their own team, and it makes me sick. Like, are you a supporter or are you a fucking troll? If you're a troll, go follow Cardiff, you know, because I'd rather you troll them than make things harder for our team, because trust me, the bullshit that these people are coming out with makes things harder. Now, I'm still on the fence on Jardim. I like him and I want him to succeed, but ultimately the football club is the most important thing, and the success of the football club is the most important thing. I've heard a lot of good things about his coaching methods, so there could be an opportunity maybe for him to step back into the lead coach role and bring in a proper manager as a head coach. Have we got the budget for that, though? That's one thing. Is there anybody out there who wants the job? That's another thing. If we do want to go out there and find somebody who we can get to do the job, have we got to pay compensation to take them away from a football club? You know, there's a lot of factors. So what I'm going to say now, right? Now, this method of football, people are saying, oh, no, but we're not playing in the opponent's half enough. We've got a lot of possession, but it's all in our own half. Right. So the one thing that we noticed at the beginning of the season is that possession-based football in our own half was potentially going to cause us problems giving the ball away. That's not a problem anymore. You can see they're improving. A lot of these young players, the talented young players, are obviously being coached well because they're individually improving. I think the MK Dons game was an example of where this method of football, when it's applied right, can work and work well. But we do need to add to the team. But, you know, this isn't going to be an overnight process. It's like Hugh Jenkins is now the chairman of the football club, and it's as if people were expecting to wake up the next day and be a Premier League team already. It's like, it took Hugh Jenkins a long time to get Swansea up there. I'm not expecting him to get us up there. I'd be happy if we were mid-table League One, pushing towards an aspiration of being in the Championship. You know, if we grow in stature. At the moment, we're not big enough to go beyond League One. There's no reason why we can't be big enough. You know, picking up these youngsters, training them, coaching them, making them better players, selling them for the profit. Matt Baker cost us nothing. He could be the next player to make us £1 million. Connor Washington was the first ever player that made Kainty £1 million in total transfer fees recouped. So the initial £500,000 it cost Peterborough to take him away from us, and then the £500,000 of the sell-on clause that when they sold him on the QPR. I think Matt Baker could be the next player that could make us that $1 million. But then there's a lot of others as well who are starting to bud. Now, people are critical of Cameron Antwi. I don't know why, because you might not see a lot, but you tend to find that Cameron Antwi is a target when the team doesn't play well. But the fact that he played well in that 6-3 against MK Dons, a couple of people pointed out that he played well in that game. I've seen glimpses of what he can be capable of. Yeah, he should have buried his chance, of course, but I've seen glimpses of what he can be capable of, and because we aren't seeing glitzy, sparkle football from him all the time, people are attacking him, and it's a bit of a shame, really. But then I think Cameron Antwi could be another one that could make us a lot of money in the future. I think you look at Kai Whitmore is going to make us some money. I think Bobby Camwa could make us some money, some serious money. I think Jeff Cott's only 24, and if we can get a player out of him, there was a player in him for him to be banging in goals for Plymouth the way that he used to, in League 2 and League 1, mind. Surely, we could get a player. If he gets that first goal, that could be the start of it. Wait and see. Dom Talford was finished and then all of a sudden became the League 2 top scorer. It might take a little bit longer for Jeff Cott, but there's possibility that he can find that. And if he does, that's another player who could make us some money. And then you keep going. You look at players like Spellman. You look at players like Cameron Evans, who unfortunately with his injury, but he's coming along well. Kieran Brennan. You look at these players, these good young players who really are starting to, shine. Like Hamza Kargbo, we can really start seeing now. Jeffrey Boney, I don't know what's happened to him. He may have picked up an injury or something. I haven't read anything anywhere or seen anything anywhere, but that's another one, that could potentially make us some money. We start bringing in some money. We bring in more of these good young players because they're always out there. They're always out there if you look in the right places. The thing is, Hugh Jenkins obviously got the right scouting network because he did this at Swansea and it worked. So you got the right scouting network. You know what you're looking for. When you're looking for that raw talent. I can mould this into something beautiful. You look at those players in that kind of frame of mind. So I think this method is going to be successful, but you cannot expect it, to come on you can't expect it to just happen. It's going to take some time to be a bit patient with it, And trust me, honestly, right, this season is going to be up and down. But then next season, as it gradually gets better and better, you'll see it more up than down. But then it'll, see what I mean? There's a pattern there. And as long as we've got the right people running the football club, running the coaching side of it, and of course the right person picking the team and the tactics for each game, I can't see any reason why we can't look forward to a successful future at the football club. 2025, for me, you're never going to get a better start to a year than 2024. But to be fair, the end of the season was grim. There's been some grim moments this season, yeah, and I'll admit it. There's been some games where we've been absolute crap, you know. But it's one game. You know, we've had plenty of games where we've been good enough for people to think, yeah, we're a good team. We're just inconsistent. But that consistency will improve as the players improve, as the team and their methods improve. This style of football improves. More training, more games. It will get better and better. 2025 could be a pretty good year. It's not going to start as well as last year, but I've got a feeling that there's going to be more ups than downs. So that's my opinion on it anyway. I've just robbed over 20 minutes of your lives if you have made it this far. So for that, I give thanks, obviously. You know, I really appreciate you hearing me out. I hope that you understood what I've said and it's allowed you to think in a more positive way about the future of the football club. And most importantly, for all of you, I'd say thanks for your support throughout the year, and I wish you all a very happy new year, and I hope 2025 brings everything that you want it to. No, we don't get everything we want, but there's no reason why you can't use the new year to make some positive changes in your life. And the way I see it, if you want to achieve something, there's no reason why you can't go out there and do it. So go for it. What have you got to lose? Anyway, thanks again, and cheerio for now, and as always, up the county.